can't give this girl any more benefit of the doubt than I've already tried. It's at this point that it's just a complete lost cause, and I have to accept the fact that there is no benefit of the doubt to be given. I like to think of people who have different opinions as me as just simply that, having a different opinion and trying to let stuff go and to understand that I don't have to agree with somebody to respect them. And that has been my stance with G4's Frosk. She's somebody that, I looked up to in the industry. When I saw her first hosting stuff for League of Legends and being as versed as she was in the esports scene and the esports side of things, I thought, hey, this is awesome. Like, she actually knows her stuff. She's confident and she did great. And I followed her right when I saw her on that. And I still follow her. But anyway, so whenever she went on that tangent on G4, attacking the male viewer base, calling gamers sexist and all that stuff, I tried to just give her the benefit of the doubt. I tried to say, hey, this isn't a nefarious thing. That's how she feels. I can disagree with her, but she's still, I still don't want to lose respect for her. I'm just going to hope that was a misstep and just a being out of touch type moment of not understanding the actual climate of things, or just somebody simply having a different opinion than me, which I'm able to be okay with that. But now, after today's just utter disrespect to her coworkers, it's really changed a lot of my perspective. Now, I don't like to even talk about people specifically. I normally like to just talk about a topic at hand because it's just not my style to talk about someone I don't like and I don't feel comfortable with it. But in this case, I'm going to talk about her actions. I'm not going to insult her as a person, because at the end of the day, we are all flawed human beings. But I do think that her actions have been downright terrible as of late. And honestly, since day one, maybe my benefits of the doubt that I tried to offer apparently were not completely deserved by the look of it. So here, bounding in the comments, comics compiled everything. They said G4 host Frosk posts tone deaf memes celebrating her continued employment after network hit with massive layoffs. So in a stunning display of tone deafness, particularly with someone whose own actions ostensibly played a significant role in getting here, G4 host Indiana Frosk Black responded to the network's recently announced sweeping staff cuts by sharing a meme celebrating the fact that she herself did not face the chopping block. I was shocked to see that today. Very shocked. Now, so yesterday, it looked like a bunch of people from the show, from G4, the production and all that, they showed up to work expecting to put on a show and to have their streams, their shows, all that stuff, done, and they were gonna work. Well, then all of a sudden, G4 makes a tweet, and they're like, "Hey, due to unforeseen circumstances, we are cutting programming today, and we'll be back tomorrow," type thing. Well, it turns out 20 to 30 people were laid off from production. So, when that happens, obviously, a lot of people were hoping Frosk was among the laid off, because when it comes to why G4 is suffering, a lot of that is because, I'd say most of it is because of this rant that happened right here. Whenever she went on that tangent, calling their viewers sexist, calling the demographic that's going to be supporting this show misogynistic, and insulting the very people who are the reason why she has a job. Not a smart strategy at all. Now, she made this tweet today that said, "Let's play some games, yo. I survived." This meme, basically, this was basically a dig at those who don't like her, saying, "Oh, guess what? I'm still here, haha." And this is incredibly disrespectful to those who got laid off. This wasn't the own that she thought it was. I don't know if she deleted it or not, but this was definitely in bad taste, because imagine being somebody from G4 who got laid off and then they get to wake up and see this tweet in the morning. She is responsible, highly, maybe not solely, but highly responsible for the reason why these people got laid off. And she has the audacity and the nerve to say something like this and think that this is some own. It's just so disrespectful. I can't even imagine those who got laid off and those who worked with her to see this, knowing it's her fault. And this is where G4 is at, to where if G4 were to lay her off, then they would get backlash from the blue-haired wokies saying that they were being misogynistic. And so now they're in a tough situation because she is at fault here. She is at fault largely for why G4 is not pulling the numbers that they need and why they are suffering financially. But they can't address that because then they will be called misogynist. And when you really think about G4 in the first place and back when it existed originally and stuff, G4 is meant to appeal to gamers, hardcore gamers. And what people forget is that a ton of modern gamers now are not actually really gamers. A lot of them aren't. A lot of these activists that call themselves gamers, are they actually hardcore gamers? Most of them don't even, a lot of them at least, don't even like games. They admit, oh, I just want an easy game. I want a short 5-hour or less game. Let's normalize 5-hour games. How many times do you see this from game journos and activists in gaming? They always say that. And what games do they like to play? They like to play those glorified walking simulators where the only point of the game is the story. That's it. The actual gameplay is not compelling, not difficult, a bunch of unnecessary slow walking scenes so you can hear characters banter with each other, and the main whole point of the game is just to watch the story, and any other gameplay is just meant to be filler in between cutscenes type thing, which is a ton of modern AAA games. And when you actually run into any ounce of difficulty, any puzzle, God forbid you have to use your brain for 2 seconds, the main character you're playing as or a prompt on screen or something will tell you what to do. Gaming has dramatically changed, and with the improvement of technology, you would think it would make gameplay more compelling, but it's done the absolute reverse because game developers have learned that, hey, as long as we make pretty cutscenes, our gameplay doesn't have to be that dynamic. And that's what we're seeing so much of. And not only that, but a lot of people who are in game development now, if you look back in the old days, people who were developing games for like PS1 games, they were passionate about what they did. And that really reflected in the products. What you see a lot in old school games are compelling gameplay, difficult gameplay that you actually have to think and figure out. You don't have your handheld. You don't have prompts on the screen telling you every 2 seconds what to do. Cutscenes were seen as a reward. They weren't the only purpose of the game. Or, you know, if you were to take cutscenes out of most modern games, what substance do they have left? Would people still play said games if the cutscenes were removed? Most of them, not really. But if you look at retro games, take all the cutscenes out, would you still play them? Yeah, because the best part of those games were the gameplay. And like I said, the cutscenes were a reward, not the only purpose of the game. So, as a result, this is what happens when not only the hobby itself, but the industry also gets hijacked by activists who care more about shoehorning a message into a story than they care about creating a compelling game. Not to say this about every single game dev, but a lot of the higher ups who are making them do that, for example. Then you have a completely different audience here. And what we've learned from Twitter is that these activists do not support the things they are being activists for. That's why you'll see in Rings of Power, or you'll see in so many movies that have this woke message and agenda that they're pushing, more so that they're pushing a message more than actually being fun. You'll see that all these retweets, all these likes, but then you don't see much ROI out of it. It's these, you look on Twitter, and if you were to look on Twitter, you would think that a lot of these shows that are just failing colossally, you would think that they would be massively successful based off of how many retweets, how many likes they get. But that just goes to show Twitter doesn't mean crap. Okay, so also a lot of Twitter is bots. But secondly, these activists aren't supporting what they claim to care about. And the only reason why this whole movement and this whole woke movement and agenda has existed in gaming as long as it has is because those core gamers have been supporting them, giving them the benefit of the doubt, hoping they change stuff. Me with Tomb Raider, for example. I have been so supportive throughout the reboot trilogy. I'm like, okay, well, this is just the beginning. They're going to get things back. And I think a lot of us hardcore gamers who are big fans of existing franchises or just gaming in general, we try to give them, the activists, the benefit of the doubt. Okay, maybe they messed up here. Maybe they didn't deliver here or they didn't deliver there, or this is kind of dumb, but hopefully they'll get it right next time. Let's just keep supporting it. And now we're seeing that that's not been the case. And we're not supporting these properties as much in video games and in TV shows and in movies, and that's reflecting in box offices and so on and so forth. But it just proves that they were getting our money and they hate us. And as you can see from Frosk here, she hates. She has a lot of hatred for gamers. Let's be honest. She hates most gamers. So why is she hosting a show that is appealing to people she hates? This is what's happening right now. So yeah, extremely disrespectful on her part. I would think that she would have a little more tact than that. But yeah, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine even thinking something like that in a situation where a lot of people have been laid off, let alone tweeting it. Not that I have the perfect tweet track record. Everybody says stupid stuff sometimes, but this is beyond just stupid stuff. This is completely inconsiderate and awful. So this is it. I think the state of a lot of media in general, and like I said, a lot of us aren't supporting this activist crap anymore. So it's only a matter of time. Only a matter of time before G4 is going to go under and everything else that's trying this. And if G4 ever wants any shot of coming back in the future, which I doubt it's going to ever need to try again, at least in the remote future, after it failing again, is they need to try to appeal to actual gamers instead of preach at them. So anyway, thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. I will see you all next time. And in the meantime, go boom.